Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello, welcome to my video. And in this video, I will doing some presentation about the project Sociolinguistics. And I've already choose two topics that it was code mixing and code switching. And in the next slide, there is a table of contents. Uh, the first, there is a what is a code mixing, and the second, there is the characteristic of code mixing, and the third, there is a what is code switching, and the fourth, there is a types of code switching, and in the fifth, there is a difference between code mixing and code switching, and the last, there is a conclusion. But before I will doing some presentation, I will introduce myself. My name is Wulan Anjarwati Kusuma, and I'm in UPSI Cengkareng, and I'm majoring in English literature. The first, there is what is code mixing? Okay, in this slide, I will introduction about code mixing. So, according to Maulider et al., one of sociolinguistics phenomena which occurs in bilingual or multilingual society is code mixing. And code mixing is the phenomenon always found in daily life. And code mixing implies the mixing of two codes or two dialects without changing the specific context. And code mixing usually occurs in a sentence, and code mixing is the other phenomenon closely related to code switching. And next, there's according to Ansar, code mixing as a term refers to the use of one or more language for consistent transfer of linguistic units from one language to another. And relate to culture defines we can see the truth in the class when understudies offering something in English, they mix some language in the sentence that they don't have the idea how to say in English. It means as combine the language between Indonesia and English. So this is a introduction about the code mixing. And next, there is the example to code mixing. So in this word, there is like coba answer nomor 17 kamu ya. And in the second, ya, kamu coba translate number 2. So, for example, number 1 and 2, with the wording show the example of code mixing because the word is located between two different languages, Indonesia, English, but still one utterance. And it indicates the existence of language mixing because the speaker master two language, Indonesia and English, since they speak both language, and they can easily mix the language. More the point, based on several definitions related to code mixing conveyed by some experts, it can be summarized that code mixing is someone's ability to be able to mix language within a conversation when interacting with each other, yet their conversation is still in the equal circumstance and only the language that they change. And code mixing is one of the major kinds of language choice, which is subtler than code switching. In code mix sentence, pieces of one language are used while a speaker is basically using another language. These pieces of the other language are often words, but they can also be pairs or large units. From described before, we can see the definition of code mixing is limited to the shift of code font within one and the same clause or sentence. Next, there is the characteristic of code mixing. Okay, so Purwanto state that there are some characteristics of code mixing as follows. There is interdependent aspect that is shown by the speakers and the function of the language. Words of the language become a unit that has one function. Code mixing in maximal condition is a language conference where each of elements of the language has take of the function of the language mix, and the use of code mixing usually shows social level and individual identity in a society. The form and component of code mixing never sentence form, but it's just in the form of word, pairs, clause, bester, reduplication, and idiom. So this is about tell the characteristic of codemic feeling. And next, uh, there is a four types of codemixing. The first, codemixing of word level, and codemixing of pairs level, and codemixing of clause level, codemixing of reduplication level. So, codemixing of word level, the word is the smallest unit that can be uttered as a free from or a unit of language that can stand alone going from the morpheme single. So, the example from the code mixing of word level, it's like we can send the tugas through email. So, that the word tugas, it reverts to code mixing of a word level because it was free from a language that can stand alone. And in the code mixing of pairs level, the pairs is a combination of two or more words that are non-predictive. So, for example, like when teacher can monitor their student, he can get score yang valid. So, the score is from the student in fact. So, the word score yang valid is a code mixing of pairs level because the pairs level the word is a combination of two or more words that are non-predictive. And next, there is the code mixing of clauses level. So, a clause is a grammatical unit in the form of a group of words at least consists of subject, predicate, and potentially into sentence. Okay, so for the example, like bilingual can make me burden because kita juga diberi tugas oleh dosen lainnya. Jadi, kata kita juga diberi tugas oleh dosen lainnya, it was from academic of clause level because it's a grammatical unit in the form of a group of words at least consists of subject, predicate, and potentially into sentence. So, kita juga diberi tugas oleh dosen lainnya, it was code mixing of clause level. And the last, there is a code mixing of reduplication level. Reduplication is similar to repetition. Repetition of a syllable, a morpheme, or a word. For example, I disagree with your argument because the material is not specific but campur-campur. So the word campur-campur, it was like similar to repetition, so that's why it can be like code mixing of reduplication level because the word campur-campur, it like the word repetition. Okay, so there is the factors causing code mixing. Speaker. So sometimes speakers try to mix their language or adhere to a purpose or in a particular situation. Like for example, usually code mixing occurs in a relaxed or informal situation. This situation is closer with daily conversation and for riders is also described as their habitual communication. And next, there is a here, speaker and partner speaking. So, communication is the process of expressing ideas between two participants of conversation. Speakers adjust the language when they talk to their hearer. For example, if they can get the meaning of a sentence clearly, then the speaker will mix the language into regional language so that the hearer can understand what the speaker has said. And next, there is a social community or background. So, an individual lives and cooperates in one community, either in monolingual or bilingual community. Now, most communities are bilingual that use two language in their interaction. In this case, an individual will be influenced by social community directly. And the last, there is a vocabulary, and there is a not appropriate word or when there is a lack of vocabulary in one language. The inability to find an appropriate word or expression in one language makes people change the word or phrase from one to another language and it can be combined together. So there is the factors causing code mixing. And next, there is what is code switching. I will introduction to code switching. So code switching, according to Chandra and Kodriani, living in a country made up of various cultures and some language, people learn, adapt, and use specific language to talk with human beings from one of a kind cultures. For example, Indonesia has extra than 100 local languages, some of which might be Japanese, Cantonese, and the other. And as a result, most more than one language they could speak no longer only Indonesian, but can also communicate ethnic or local language. And code switching is most commonly used in bilingual or multilingual communities and involves using the vocabulary, grammar, and accents from a number of a language and dialects. And when code switching, individuals decide which language feeders to use based on their social settings, although code switching can be done on purpose. It often happens subconsciously, and many people aren't even aware they're doing it. So this is about the introduction to code switching. And next, there is a types types of code switching. So this is there is a three types of code switching. The first, there is a tag code switching, and the second, there is a intersensorial code switching, and the last, there is intrasensorial code switching. So a tag code switching happens when bilinguals insert short expression or tag from different language at the end of his or her utterance. An Indonesian bilingual switch from English to Indonesia, like for example, it's okay, no problem, ya enggak? So this is the example from tag code switching. And next, intersensorial code switching. And intersensorial code switching happens when there is a complex sentence in four gen uttered between two sentences in a base language. And Indonesian bilingual switch from Indonesian to English, like the example, ini lagu lama tahun 60-an. It's all this, but goodies. They say, tapi masih enak kok didengerin. So, the example intersensorial code switching like this. Ini lagu lama tahun 60-an, it's oldies but goodies. They say, tapi masih enak kok didengerin. And the last, there is a intrasensial code switching. Intrasensial code switching is found when a word, a pairs, or a clause of a foreign language is found within the sentence in a base language. An Indonesia bilingual switch from Indonesia to English, for example, hotelnya sangat amazing, sungguh sangat terlihat mewah. So, that's the example from intrasensual code switching. And next, what is the purpose of code switching? So, the first, there is a to feel connect. Okay, sometimes people switch to a language or dialect that's familiar to them to feel closer to the person they are talking to or to show they're part of the same group. So, this is about the to feel connect. Like sometimes people can switch to a language or dialect that's familiar to them or feel closer to the person they're talking to. And next, there is to make sure they're understood. So, if someone knows more than one language, they make switch to the language that the other person understands better to make communication easier. So, sometimes someone can know more than one language, but maybe they can switch to the language to the other person because it can make understand better to make communication. And next, there is to be playful or expressive. So people might switch language for fun, to tell a joke, or to add emotion that what they're saying. So this is like how to people switch language for a fun, to tell a joke, or to add emotion to can make be playful or expressive. And the last, there's to show different sides of themselves. So sometimes people switch language to express different parts of who they are or where they come from, like using one language to talk with family and for work. Okay, so this is the purpose of code switching. And next, there is a difference between code mixing and code switching. So, the difference between code mixing and code mixing, this happens when someone mixes two or more language or dialect during the same sentence or conversation. Like for example, someone might say, I need to compare some grocery, where compare is Spanish for to buy. In this case, compare is mixed with English, creating a sentence that uses both language. And for the code switching, this occurs when someone switches back and forth between two or more language or dialects in a conversation. For instance, someone might say, let's go to the Mercedes to buy some fruits and vegetables, and where Mercedes is Spanish for market. And in this case, the speaker switch from English to Spanish and then back to English. So this is the difference about code mixing and code switching. And so the main difference is that code mixing involves blending language within the same sentence or phrase, while code switching involves switching between a language or a dialect at different points in a conversation, but are common ways that bilingual or multilingual people use language to communicate effectively in diverse social settings. So this is the explanation about difference between code mixing and switching. And the last, there is a conclusion. So in conclusion, code mixing and code switching are natural aspects of language used for bilingual or multilingual speakers. They reflect the dynamic nature of language and the diverse linguistic environments in which individuals communicate, both code mixing and code switching serve various communication purposes, including expressing identity, enriching comprehension, and fostering social connection. And studying code mixing and code switching contributes to our understanding of language acquisition, bilingualism, sociolinguistics, and communication strategies. So, this is the conclusion from code mixing and code switching. I think it's enough for the explanation about code mixing and code switching. And thank you for watching my video. And I hope what I'm already explained can make us understand what is a code mixing and code switching. And sorry if there are any word errors in my explanation. And wassalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.